Hello, this is Joe from Nerd in Korea. We are doing the Lord of the Nazgul. This is a cEDH deck, so a lot of my deck checking I still try to cover the more budget things. This is not budget, definitely not. This is very competitive, and I've played against it, or I should say I lost against it, and it's not a joke. Yeah, this is a real. This deck will get ya. Alright, so what we're doing here is we're reviewing decks. So we were taking a look at the Lord of the Nazgul deck. Again, this is a cEDH deck, and we're going to talk more about cEDH because I'm not trying to sound like a rude person or something here, but a lot of times if you say something is cEDH, the immediate response from someone else is like, no, it's not. If you've ever said anything like this on Facebook, you're going to know what I'm talking about. It's one of those things where just like automatically someone's like disagreeing with you. Unless you're talking about like Ristic Study where it's like a $40 card, someone's going to be like, that's not cEDH. Like, okay. Anyway. This guy, he was on our list of budget commanders a couple weeks back for our cantrip ones. He's super powerful. Oh my. The price tag definitely does not equal the like competitiveness. Anyway, so 3 blue-black Dimir for a 4/3 flyer. Not a bad start. Wraiths you control have protection from ring bearers. If it comes up, maybe that would be nice. I almost feel like that prevents them from blocking the ring bearer as well, so maybe it's kind of a bad thing. Anyway. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 3/3 black wraith creature token with menace. So you can cast all these cantrips super easily, and every time you do a cantrip, you're going to make a 3/3 wraith with menace. Which is already good, but it gets so much better. So much better. If you, if you control 9 or more wraiths, wraiths you control have base power and toughness 9/9 until end of turn. So this makes it so you control 9 or more wraiths, you get this huge bonus, right? So basically, as soon as you have like your commander, which is a wraith, and 8 more wraiths, you can cast any cantrip, and they all have base power and toughness 9/9. So you've got 9/9/9s. That's 81 damage with menace or flying. Like, oh, whoa. Anyway, scary stuff. This is the main win con, and everything in this deck is really focused on getting this win con done, which is not hard to do, frankly. It's not. Cast a cantrip. That's really all you need to do, and you win. Oh, the power. Okay, Lord of the Nazgul. The TCG player price is $707.58, so it's over $700, right? This is not a cheap deck. Again, it is not a budget deck. It's a competitive deck, right? So this is an actual deck. Again, my friend actually has this deck. It is built. I have played against it. As I said, when I say play against, I mean lose against, but yeah. Yeah, and this was built by the same person who did the Tiamat deck from the first episode and the Lathril deck from I think that was the 6th episode of this. But yeah. The Tiamat deck it's over a $2,000 dragon deck. Now that's some cEDH right there. And the Lathril is pretty scary too. So yeah. I think all of his decks are pretty scary. But anyway. Thoughts on Lord of the Nazgul. So yeah, as I said, this appeared on a list of cantrip commanders. I'll try to put that or put a link up there for it. And the most direct win con is just to cast those low-cost instants and sorceries. Get 8 or more wraiths, get the bonus, win, right? As soon as you got those wraiths that have like, they're going to be 8/8 with menace, or yeah, your commander is a wraith with flying, so flying or menace. This deck doesn't care about things like commander damage or even, it's what I meant to say is like using life as a resource. It doesn't care about like losing life if it's getting some value. is what I mean to say. I think I said that clumsily, but yeah. Really, this whole deck is just like going straight for it. Like, it's scary. It's scary. Everything in this deck is very like pushing for that win con. That, again, your commander makes it not too difficult, but everything in this deck really enhances your ability to get it done. Oh. Okay, so is this really a cEDH deck? Yes! I'm like hesitant to call anything cEDH because I just, every time anyone says it, even online, I like roll my eyes immediately, and there's someone immediately that goes, no it's not. Really, nothing is ever cEDH unless it's like $50, I swear. But anyway. First of all, it is a high price, okay? That's not required for cEDH, as I just said, but it's a positive indicator, I think. Second, it is packed full of powerful counters and direct strategy to the win con. It is very, like, it's heavy on its ability to counter things, and yeah. Going for that win con is what it's all about. Third, its mana cost is 1.72 with lands and 2.54 without lands. That's very low, right? Your average mana in the deck is under 2. So you're going to be able to keep casting a lot very quickly. And there's tons of card draw in here, so you're just going to keep going. Star cards. Okay, so what makes star cards in this deck is not necessarily what makes a star card in a regular deck, okay? Very different expectations here. Covering the bases is very important. Like, in cEDH, it doesn't mean you don't like have to worry about the basics, right? That the basics are even more important, I would say. Things like card draw, your ramp, your things like that become much more important when you're talking about a cEDH deck, not less important. So yeah. And again, we're talking card draw, ramp, sure, but not a heavy focus on ramp just because it's Dimir. But anyway, I put low CMC removal. Very, very, very important in this deck because that's your instants and sorceries getting cast and making wraiths, right? And counterspells are more heavily favored here. This has so many counterspells. It's just going to be able to shut down anything going on the board that you don't like. Cards making use of life total as a resource are not avoided, just about getting to that win con. Okay, this isn't afraid of like draining your own life to be able to get the game done sooner. If you think about it, it's kind of the same thing, right? Card draw. As I said, this is still focused on, especially if you're casting a bunch of low cost things, card draw is even more important, right? So here we go. Also, it's Sunday, so my son is home. His calzones just came out of the air fryer, so he might be curious about where they are. I'm letting them cool right now, but I hope he doesn't come out and interrupt, but he might. He loves some calzones, that's for sure. If you are in South Korea, Lotte Mart has these calzones. They're so good. Yeah, you can, right now, you can, if you like buy two, they're each 50%. So it's basically buy one, get one free, like, but half price instead. Whatever. Anyway, check it out. Okay, card draw. Ristic Study. I don't even know if I have to explain this one, but I do actually have a copy of this, and I don't use it. I maybe should. I just want to keep it safe in my binder, though. Mystic Remora. I actually have this one as well. I have this old copy. It's beat up, unfortunately, but yeah. So this is 1 mana for this enchantment. Whenever target opponent successfully casts a non-creature spell, you may draw a card. That player may pay 4 mana to counter this effect, and it's cumulative upkeep 1. Meaning the first round you pay 1, next round 2, next round 3, and so on. So basically another Ristic Study, but that costs you a little bit more to keep it on the board. Kind of more balanced Mystic Study, I think. Mind Stone. Not crazy about this choice. This is one of the only cards I actually suggested changing. So yeah. Again, there's only 2 mana for this mana rock that you can tap for 1 mana. And you pay 1 and tap. And sacrifice it to draw a card. So Black Market Connections. We actually see this card again later. So yeah. Create a token that's, create a treasure token, lose 1 life. So yeah, beginning of your pre-combat main phase, choose 1. So yeah, again, this is a 2 and a black enchantment. And yeah. Second option, draw a card, you lose 2 life. Again, drawing a card is worth 2 life for sure. Or create a 3/2 colorless shapeshifter creature token with changeling, you lose 3 life. Okay, the changeling is the huge option that makes this really work in this deck because, yeah, if you need that last Wraith, there you go. The changeling counts as all types, including Wraith, right? So even if you have like 2 of these, that's 25% of the Wraiths you need. Crazy. And Ring Sight. This is actually a tutor, but it's a tutor that gets it to your hand. So it's kind of like card draw with extra steps. But anyway. 1 blue black. I actually think this is a great one. I ordered a bunch of these because they're so cheap. The ring tempts you. First of all, search your library for a card that shares a color with a legendary creature you control. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. So yeah. Basically, just go get a card in your color identity and then shuffle. Your commander has to be out. It has to share a color with a legendary creature you control. So it doesn't even have to be your commander, but there has to be a legendary creature that you control. So yeah, a bit of a limitation there, not really. Removal. Fading Hope, 1 blue for this instant, return target creature to its owner's hand. If it had value 3 or less, scry 1. I love that kind of like mechanic where it's like if you target something with a low CMC, you get this bonus. Added benefit. You see that with like Proliferate and a bunch of other things as well. Really just a nice little thing to add to removal, I think. Deadly Rollick. Okay, 3 and a black, so that's expensive, right? For this instant? We'll see. So if you control your commander, you may pay this for 0. Or cast this for 0. Pay this for 0. Exile target creature. Exile. Not destroy, exile. So it's just gonna, for 0 mana, you're just gonna be like, see ya. Ooh. Rapid Hybridization. For 1 blue, this instant destroy target creature. It can't be regenerated. Its controller creates a 3/3 frog lizard creature token. Again, it's 1 mana instant that is going to get something off the board. And yeah, it is destroy instead of exile, unfortunately, but it gives them a 3/3, but really you're going to get a 3/3 at least as well. So yeah, casting that instant gets you your, your token with menace. And then if that's your last one, or if that's your 8th one on top of your commander, then it becomes a 9/9 instead. And oh boy. Reality Shift. 1 and a blue for this instant. Exile target creature. Its controller manifests the top card of their library. A little bit of risk there. Not too bad, I think. Soul Shatter. Okay, so this is 2 and a black. This is by far the most expensive one. But each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker with the highest converted mana cost among creatures and planeswalkers they control. Guaranteed this is going to hurt, right? Especially in a game of Commander where you're forcing only your opponents to sacrifice 3 things for 3 mana. 3 mana sounds high. For 3 removals, it is low, right? It's scary also because they don't get to choose. They have to take the thing with the highest CMC, and things like Indestructible, Shroud, Hexproof. Doesn't matter. You're not casting it on the creature, you're casting it on the player, right? Just gets around everything. Oh. Counters. Okay, Bogart, Trawler, Bogart, Trawler. I'm thinking, what is the movie called? Anyway, you know what? Not time for my rambling. But anyway, 2 and a black for the 3/1 goblin. When it enters the battlefield, exile target player's graveyard. Graveyard hate. Always have graveyard hate, right? Arcane Denial. Again, counter target spell. Its controller may draw up to 2 cards at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. You draw 1 card. So remember, you counter the spell, they get to draw 2 cards at the beginning of the next upkeep, sure, but you get to draw a card, and you're going to be making that 3/3 menace, or possibly 9/9 menace. Fierce Guardianship. Again, yeah, if you control your commander, you may cast the spell without paying its mana cost, counter target non-creature spell. Counter spell for 0. I really wish I picked this up when it was in the pre-cons, but oh well. Pact of Negation. Again, cast it for 0, a 0 cost counter spell. And yeah, at the beginning of the next turn, you pay 3 red, blue, red, what? If you don't, you lose the game. So there's a pretty big downside there, right? But it's gonna hopefully be worthwhile. And Strike Serenade. I actually just had this on the list recently, I think the other day. This is only about $2 right now. This special art probably isn't, but for 1 blue, this is an instant counter target artifact, creature, or planeswalker spell. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Its controller creates a 2/2 blue bird creature token with flying. So yeah, you're going to counter whatever spell they have and give them a 2/2 flyer instead. Especially if it's like that can hurt. That can hurt. Let's just say that. Pay life. Again, black market connections we already talked about. Morgul Knife. This is something that grants lifelink. This is also kind of a heavy counter one as well. So yeah, let's look at that. Again, it gets +1/+1, trample, and lifelink. Really great combination in this deck. Again, your 10/10 menace, trample, lifelink. Yeah, I'll take that. And you can pay 1. Permanents your opponent's control lose hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. So really, that is such a huge counter, right? Anything they have that's hexproof, indestructible, you just get to turn it off whenever you want. And it's all of theirs until end of turn. Equip 2. Again, if you're draining your life, it's nice to have an option for lifelink at least, but Call of the Ring. At the beginning of your upkeep, the ring tempts you. Whenever you choose a creature as a ring bearer, you may pay 2 life, draw a card. Okay, it's going to come up like not that often. You have other cards that let you that have the ring tempts you, so you can cycle through that pretty quick and hopefully keep getting new ring bearers chosen frequently and drawing more cards off of that. The One Ring. This is a recent addition to his deck. Since it got banned, it dropped in price a bit, so he's finally able to get it. Oh, good. He didn't have the One Ring, and now he does. Oh, yeah, that's such a relief. For this legendary artifact, which is indestructible, unsurprisingly. So when it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you gain protection from everything until the end of your next turn. So first of all, 1 turn protection from everything. So no one can even choose to attack you. You're just not a legal target anymore. Any spells? Nope. Well, targeted spells, no. Any kind of like spells that just hit the entire board, yeah, sure. But, oh boy. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life for each burden counter on the One Ring, and you could tap it, put a burden counter on it, and then you draw a card for each burden counter on it. So this is just going to be a card draw engine. It is going to drain you slowly, but it's so good. Toxic Deluge. All right, so we got 2 and a black. As an addition, As an additional cost to the spell, pay X life. All creatures get -X until end of turn. This can very easily turn into a one-sided board wipe, right? Remember, all of your wraiths, I remember words, are going to be 9/9s. As soon as that, like, the 9th one hits the battlefield, they all become 9/9s. So you can cast this, drain yourself for 8, deal 8 to the entire board, probably wipe out everything that's not a wraith, and then just attack. And, you know, end the game. The plan. So how does this deck play? Step 1, always the same. Ramping and fixing, right? Ramp, fix, always, every single deck, step 1, okay? Step 2, Wraith Kindred / cantrips, which are kind of the same thing with this commander. Step 3, your win cons, okay? So this does have that I do like decks where it's like very simple game plan. You know what? It's very direct. Maybe simple is the wrong word. Direct is better. Yeah, very direct game plan. Like, it goes straight for like that one win con. A lot of times I try to like give decks a whole bunch of like range of options and kind of different ways to play it. This one is like, this is how I win. And with the commander the way it is, it's like, yep, that's how you do that. Ramping and fixing. Okay, Talisman of Dominance. Only 2 mana for this mana rock. Nice. You can add a colorless or a blue or black, and it's just 1 damage to you. Once again, how often do you actually need that extra colored mana? It doesn't have to drain you. Felwara Stone. Add 1 mana of any color that land an opponent controls could produce. A little bit risky there, not too bad though. Again, blue and black are both pretty heavily played, right? Lorien Revealed. Okay, so we got 3 blue. Draw 3 cards. Seems like not a great deal, right? Just wait. Land cycling, or suddenly island cycling 1. So you can pay 1, put this in your graveyard, just go get an island. So you never have to miss that land drop. If you have this, you basically have an island or a card draw, whichever you want. Ring of Barahir. Again, this is actually sort of the Animist. Basically, reskin sort of the Animist, which I love to put in decks. For 2, this is, an equipment. And equipped creature gets +1/+1. Whenever equipped creature attacks, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. This is a card that I always put in like my multicolored decks. He puts it in like his mono decks even, which is a smart thing because it's basically just ramp in mono, right? Yeah. I always use it thinking like, oh, I should get my fixing in there. Instead, it's just a ramp engine for any color. Like, oh yeah. Wayfarer's Bauble. Again, 1 mana for this artifact. Pay 2, sacrifice it. Search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. One sneaky good thing about this is that it doesn't count toward your lands you can play. Actually, but they both don't. The Ring of Bashir and this. Barahir, not Bashir. I'm thinking Deep Space Nine, but anyway. Neither one of those count against your lands per turn, so you can play a land from your hand, which you're probably going to be able to do, given the huge amount of card draw, and then you can all go get another one. So this is a Dimir deck that can ramp, actually. Wraith Kindred. Okay, so we've got Nazgul. So whenever the ring tempts you, get put a +1/+1 counter on the Nazgul. Very nice. Remember, they are a wraith, so they're going to end up being 9/9s at some point, and then, yeah, they can get those counters, and the counters do stack on top of their base power and toughness. So, yeah, it is very nice. Oh, also, yeah, you can have 9 of them in your deck. So, yeah. And the Witch King of Angmar, once again, Wraith Noble, is a flying 5/3. So whenever 1 or more creatures deal combat damage to you, each opponent sacrifices a creature that was dealt combat damage this turn. The ring tempts you. Again, more ring tempts you. This is kind of a sub-mechanic in this deck, and if you can keep cycling through it, it will give you a lot extra, right? That is quite nice, actually. And you can discard a card. It gains indestructible until end of turn. Tap it. Just make it indestructible. So yeah, nice to have that survival in there. Banner of Kinship. 5 for this artifact. So as it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Wraith. This artifact enters with fellowship counters equal to the number of creatures you control of the chosen type. So might be 9, right? Even if it's like 4. All of your wraiths having +4/+4 is insane. Sorry, yeah. Creatures you control of the chosen type get a +1/+1 for each fellowship counter on this artifact. So you can very easily make a bunch of wraiths and then cast this, and all of the wraiths get like a bonus equal to the number of wraiths you control. Win. Just win. Pact of the Serpent. Okay, choose a creature type. Target player draws X cards and loses X life, where the X is the number of creatures they control of the chosen type. You can use this on yourself if you don't have too many wraiths to draw cards, or someone else if they have like a Kindred deck to end the game, right? So this is quite flexible. It was actually pretty cheap up until recently. I feel like it went down, which makes me think it's going to go back up in price. But anyway. Patchwork Banner. I wanted this so bad, and I didn't pick it up. My Bloomburrow, I wanted this, and I thought maybe it'll go down in value, and I think it went up to like $5 instead. So 3 for this artifact. So as it enters, choose a creature type. Creatures you control the chosen type get +1/+1. And you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color. A mana rock with an anthem effect. I want that so bad. Cantrips. Okay, Brainstorm. Look at 3 cards. Or put 3 cards into your hand, and then you can put 2 back in any order. Nice little setup. Also, 1 mana. 1 mana. Consider. Surveil 1 and draw a card. Right? For, again, these are all our cantrips, so they're super cheap, and they're going to let us draw a card. They're going to basically replace themselves. That's kind of the main thing. Peak. I thought it said pack for a second. I was like, that's not right. Okay. Once again, 1 blue. Look at target player's hand, draw a card. Looking at their hand isn't such a big deal. Drawing a card is. And Gitaxian Probe. So this can be paid with either 1 blue or 2 life. Again, using life as a resource. Look at target player's hand, draw a card, pretty much the same thing. Shadow of Doubt. Okay, this is 2 mana actually, but players can't search the libraries this turn, draw a card. So you play this as a counter to like someone's tutor, and then they get very sad. The end. Oh, so mean. Win con number 1. Again, wraiths, it's all about the wraiths, right? All of the win cons are not mutually exclusive, but they are all about wraiths. Getting those, like, 9 wraiths, including your commander down, and just, like, take the game. So, Wander. As long as Wander is in your graveyard, if you control an island, creatures you control have flying. So those menace tokens that are going to be 9/9s gain flying and menace 9/9. Yep, that's a win con. Cyclonic Rift. Again, just bouncing everyone else's entire boards back to their hand. Or, sorry. Yeah, except for the not their lands. Sorry, I should clarify that. Everything except for the lands goes back to their hands, and then, yeah, you just take the game. If you got your Wraiths and Banner of Kinship out, again, your Wraiths are going to be 9/9s. Banner of Kinship is going to make them even more massive, possibly like 18/18s, and then you just win. Easy. Raise the Palisade for 4 and a blue. Choose target creature type. Return all creatures that aren't of the chosen type to their owner's hands. So you're going to say Wraith, and everything that's not a Wraith goes back to their owner's hands. Basically, Cyclonic Rift, specifically for creatures. The one downside is like if someone else has a bunch of wraiths for some reason, this won't work. But probably not. Suggestions. Okay, I was originally going to cut this part from this episode because I was like, I don't think I have any suggestions that are really worthwhile. I try to keep my suggestions budget. I managed to find 2 things that I think could potentially be worthwhile, but it's like a judgment call. I wouldn't straight up say this is better. It's a judgment call. I think one is straight up better, but the other one I'm not sure about. Anyway. Okay, replaceable cards, 2. I only found 2 in this whole deck that I could replace and actually find something for. Mind Stone. Only really not a fan of that because, again, it's a mana rock, but that only costs 2, which is nice. But if you want to use it, sacrifice it to get that card, you got to pay 1 and tap it, meaning you can't get your mana from it that turn. So really that costs you 2 more. If you're going to end up sacking it, it ends up costing you 4. So yeah, that's one thing to think of there. And Waterlogged Teachings. This is really nice because it is double-sided. It's a dual land on the back, which is a nice little bit of flexibility there. But we're going to get rid of it anyway. Sorry, for 3 and blue or black, search your library for an instant or sorcery card with or a card with flash. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Actually quite good, especially if you just want like that counter spell or like something specific. If you just want to get more instants and sorceries, especially like cantrips, just getting to your win con, getting those wraiths down, this can do that very easily. So yeah, it is good, don't get me wrong, but I think we can beat that. Okay, replaceable cards, Mind Stone. Commander Sphere. I know, suggesting Commander Sphere for a Commander deck. Genius, right? It is, I found a Lord of the Rings one at least, but yeah. It costs 3, so it is 1 more to cast, but yeah, you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color. Instead of it being colorless, it's 1 mana of any color. That's better mana fixing. Also, you can sacrifice it to draw a card. That's the same, but this doesn't require paying mana or tapping. That means you can tap it, get your mana from it, and then sacrifice it and draw your card. So if you are going to get the card out of it, it is 1 mana cheaper to sacrifice. And you also get to make any color and mana you want. It does cost 1 more originally, but I still think it's worthwhile. Waterlogged Teachings. Okay, I would switch with Illicit Shipment. In this deck, this is like an incredible card, okay? I think this is like pound for pound one of the best tutors in the game, but 3 black has Casualty 3. That means if you sacrifice something that has 3 power or higher, you get to copy this. Okay, search your library for a card, put it into its owner's hand, then shuffle. So you go get 2 cards. 2. You could set up your win con. Even 1 card is probably your win con, and then the other card is like, what do you need? You go get your counter spell, you go get your, your card draw, your cantrip, whatever you want. It's just 2 cards is a lot, right? Especially 2 cards, any 2 cards you want, you could probably figure out your win con from there, right? Yeah, I think this is crazy. Also, you cast it, it's a sorcery, which means you could sacrifice one of your wraiths and cast it and immediately makes another wraith. So you get 2 of these for 5 mana and you don't really sacrifice anything. Final thought. This is a very scary deck to play against, or maybe lose against, as I said in the beginning. Yeah, it gets the job done and doesn't really care what you put in the way. And it's definitely like, this is a deck where if you take your eye off of its board for even 1 turn, that's it. You lose. That is exactly what happened to me. I started focusing on the other player, And I don't know why, because it is immediately like, oh, I did that for one turn, and then game over, he wins. Oops. Anyway. It's scary. It's scary. All right, take it easy.